so he could stay in the country. A scheme so lucrative, she went on to arrange dozens of quickie marriages for other Nigerians. Easy Credit, city experts, has made it easy for Nigerians to rip off the system. Stealing carbon receipts or social security numbers, they apply for and get numerous credit cards, which they use to the limit.
I would characterize it a major economic problem.
Millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
Just from Nigerians.
Just from Nigerians.
And it's not just white-collar crime. Federal prosecutors say up to 90% of all heroin sold in the nation's capital is handled by Nigerians.
There is a large criminal element in the Nigerian community, sadly, that has devoted a great deal of time to heroin and cocaine smuggling.
We're live in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, on Star Times Channel 276. I am Uyi Agumofrigbe. President Yemi Osinbajo has advised the nation's universities to explore private funding as an alternative to government interventions, saying doing so is vital to the sustainability of academic institutions. Kikelemo Okere reports that Osinbajo gave the charge at the official opening of the auditorium donated to the Department of Human Nutrition and Dietetics, Faculty of Public Health, University of Ibadan, by the Kensington Adebukola Adebutu Foundation.
Vice President, the Nigerian government annual budget is inadequate to meet national development needs, urging universities to embark on aggressive marketing to meet their needs rather than blaming the government for all their inadequacies.
There has to be aggressive marketing. No government in the world can ever fund universities to the extent that is required. No government. It has to be aggressively marketed. We have to have programs that we're selling so that the university is making money. It is the private money that sustains universities. Today, Harvard has about $52 billion, more than we have in our reserves. All private money. All private money. So we must aggressively. If Professor Atimo didn't go to Kensington Adebutu, we won't be sitting here. As aggressive marketing, he had to go and talk.
Represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Olubanwo Adeosun, Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State appreciated the foundation for the donation, noting that Adebutu is a philanthropic Nigerian who donates generously irrespective of political or religious affiliation of the beneficiaries.
I was very pleasantly surprised and pleased at the quality of the building, the beautiful building, the coolness of the place, and I was even more pleased when I saw, I think it's 150 as well as the system. So I think on behalf of Oyo State, on behalf of the University of Ibadan, we would like to say sincere appreciation to Sir Kensington Adebutu and the KAF Foundation for producing this edifice.
The Vice President also commended the new research that is in synergy with the need of relevant government agencies. Kikelemo Okere, Global Television News, Abuja.
State Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has spoken with President-elect Bola Tinubu in a 20-minute-long telephone conversation to emphasize his continued commitment to further strengthen the U.S.-Nigeria relationship with the incoming administration. Blinken said the U.S.-Nigeria partnership is built on shared interests and strong people-to-people ties, adding that efforts should be geared towards strengthening ties between both countries under President-elect Tinubu's tenure. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party and Labour Party have expressed disapproval over the telephone conversation between the United States Secretary of State Blinken and the President-elect Bola Tinubu. Atiku Abubakar, PDP presidential candidate in the 2023 presidential election, who is challenging Tinubu's victory at the tribunal, said the Secretary of State's assurances of bilateral cooperation contradicted the position of the U.S. at the general election in Nigeria. Chief spokesperson for Obidati Presidential Campaign Council, Yunusa Tanko, said it was worrisome for Blinken to be discussing bilateral relations with Tinubu. The development came as after Joe Biden administration had announced the imposition of visa restrictions on Nigerians who allegedly had disrupted the recently concluded elections. The Presidential Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abuja has fixed Friday, May 19, 2023 for the continuation of pre-hearing petition filed by the presidential candidate of the Labour Party against the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Lebi Uzoku informed the court that the scheduled meeting to agree on documents to be tendered for hearing have not yielded much result, as the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has only made available 30% of the documents required from them. Chung Anamel Joseph completes the story.
The Labour Party says the party is yet to get documents with respect to Rivers State, where the resident electoral commissioner said there are no forms EC8A available to be given, but is yet to put that in writing despite requests to do so. Adding that this is contrary to the commitment by the INEC chairman.
As a lead counsel, I believe that something good may come out of a chat that I'm supposed to have with him today, because until now, if you ask me, and I say it with every degree of emphasis, that INEC sees itself in an election that it conducted. I say it with every degree of emphasis, going by the conduct of INEC, and that is true. Now, you would have noticed, for those of you who were in court, that no other party is complaining about not getting any documents. You should ask the question, why is this so?
Counsel for INEC, Abubakar Mahmood, however, says he is taken aback by the allegations of the counsel for the Labour Party, as they did not show up for the meeting as agreed and walked out of the rescheduled meeting. Abubakar added that the documents Sokoto State were provided, but the Labour Party refused to pay the sum of 1.5 million naira for Sokoto State and the form EC8A for Rivers State. Chung Anamel Joseph, Global News.
There was an attack on the acting national chairman of the Labour Party, Lamidi Apapa, allegedly by some thugs that invaded the court immediately after the adjournment. The acting national chairman of the party, Lamidi Apapa, has asked the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the last election, Peter Obi, to wade into the dispute objectively with a view to amicably resolving the lingering crisis. Tessie Otung has more.
At a media briefing after his attack at the Presidential Election Petition Court in Abuja, demanded that Obi must be unbiased in order to get as broke out in the presence of the Labour Party presidential candidate as a test to quality of leadership. Tracing the genesis of the leadership crisis, Apapa says it was wrong of Obi to accord respect to Abure in spite of the order of the court and as a presidential candidate seeking justice from the same court of law.
And I've told them severally, if you have an evidence to prove, bring your evidence that I have collected money or we have collected money from anybody. That is not, it's absolutely untrue. That's that. You see the Aburi, Peter Obi taking side. You see, I don't want to keep on exposing, but he deserves to be exposed. He deserves to be exposed. Some time ago, in one of the interviews he granted, he said he does not know me at all. I want to tell the whole world, he's a liar. And let me tell you why I say he's a liar. I've been trying to cover him, but he does not deserve it. The reasons are this. One, this is a man done his primary in Asaba. I did the opening prayer. And I was not a young officer. I was the deputy national chairman of the party then.
Also speaking at the briefing, the deputy national chairman of the party in the north, Mike Ayuba Alta, denied that the All Progressive Congress was behind the crisis, adding that the allegation was baseless and unfounded. Alta apologized to Nigerians who gave their votes to Labour Party during the last presidential election, urging them not to be discouraged by the current leadership crisis, and while assuring that the dispute will soon be resolved.
They came into the court. They were in the court from the beginning because we came there first and we saw everybody that come from us. We were the first people that come to that place because we decided to come based on the ruling on the Federal High Court on Friday, like the acting chairman said, let us come and see what is happening in the tribunal. And I want, before continuing, I want to disregard all the rumors going around that Lamidi Apapa leadership are there to withdraw the petition of Peter Obi. Why are we going to go and withdraw what we are all standing and we are claiming?
We're here for justice to be done. We're here for the right things to be done. The case has pretty much started, but unfortunately there was a lot of rancor, there was a lot of fight at the end of middle and through to the end of the courtroom. I believe the courtroom at the back has been locked now because of the fighting that we've seen from the different factions of the Labour Party. And we'll be advising them and all other political parties to conduct themselves in a way that Nigerians will be proud of them. This is about leadership of the country. How you display yourself here shows how you intended to lead Nigerians. And this has not been a very good example.
In Yaba, Lagos on Tuesday, ordered the remand of Afrobeat musician Seun Kuti for 48 hours in police custody. The police dragged Kuti to court for assaulting one Inspector Mohammed Aminu in Lagos last Saturday, as captured in a viral video. Seun, son of the late Afrobeat legend Fela Kuti, had been in police custody since Monday after he turned himself in following an order for his arrest by the Inspector General of Police, IGP Usman Alkali Baba. The police took him before the magistrate court on Tuesday to get an order to further keep him in custody pending the conclusion of investigation. The Senate on Tuesday passed the 2023 budget of Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) to the tune of 867 billion naira. This is different from the 451 million naira provision for 8 to 12 board members of the commission of office of the chairman of the commission. The Senate also confirmed the nomination of 3 persons from Delta, Edo, and Imo, respectively, as members of the governing board of the NDDC. The report of the committee was presented and read by the lawmaker representing Gombe South, Senator Amos Bulus.
In the sum of 876 billion only, as recommended by the committee, I so move.
I want to point it again before we consider this budget, Mr. President, that NDDC should see to it that it provides a state office that do, so that at least personnel costs, taking the locals, the people from there into the office, is part of employment for our youths.
Those in favor of recommendation 3, that the lifespan of the 2023 NDDC budget will elapse on 31st March 2024, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Well, thank you very much, distinguished colleagues, and we have done this to ensure that the NDDC does not stop work, but we want our committee to ensure that everything is done properly. And 2021-2022 expenditure, revenue and expenditure by Tuesday next week.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has launched its financial literacy e-learning platform called Sabi Money in its efforts to upscale financial inclusion in the country. The Apex Bank said the e-learning platform is aimed at achieving the 95% financial inclusion target by next year. The CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, said Sabi Money will significantly impact this drive, especially as many members of the Nigerian public key into the platform. Kekelomo Okere completes the story.
It is aimed at providing individuals with the opportunity to train and to become certified financial literacy trainer through self-service, adding that the platform is aimed at supporting the Apex Bank effort towards ramping up the number of experts that can be used to drive financial education in the country and perhaps beyond.
I therefore implore you to make use of this great opportunity to listen attentively, get registered into the Sabi Money e-learning platform, take the courses, and encourage others to use the platform and learn about how to become better managers of financial resources. For the operators, our regulators, and our development partners, let me quickly remind you of the importance.
Emefiele explained that Access to Finance report indicates that Nigeria has a high rate of financial exclusion when compared to its peer in the sub-Saharan Africa, adding that it is also identified low awareness level and low financial literacy level as constituting, saying there is need to address the financial inclusion gap.
In terms of ensuring that our efforts impact positively on financial capability, financial health, and financial inclusion. I therefore charge you all to ensure that a pragmatic measurement and evaluation framework is put in place to enable us to access the impact of this laudable initiative, the Sabi Money, on financial inclusion.
The launch of Sabi Money portal will serve as a repository of information not only for learners but also for research in the most effective manner. Kike Lomo Okiri, Global Television News, Abuja.
Watching the midday news here on Global TV, coming to you live on StarTimes, channel 276 from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. You can follow us across our social media platforms at Global TV NG. We have more stories right ahead for you. Don't go. Let's take you to stories beyond our shores now, where the United Nations says more than half of Sudan's population now needs aid and protection as civilians sought shelter from airstrikes and sporadic clashes, rival military factions in the Khartoum area. Residents said power had been cut, food was in short supply, and drinking water scarce due to the violent power struggle now in its second month despite international mediation efforts. In Geneva, the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs said 25 million people needed help, the highest number ever recorded in Sudan. Prior to the conflict, the figure was around 15 million. It appealed for $2.6 billion in aid, signaling no let-up in the conflict between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, otherwise called RSF. Anti-craft guns and drones could be heard Wednesday in the capital. Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has lost his appeal against a prison sentence for corruption. The Paris Appeal Court ruled that he could serve his time at home wearing a tag instead of going to jail. In 2021, Sarkozy was sentenced to 3 years in prison, including 2 suspended for trying to influence a judge in a separate case. The 68-year-old was the first former French president to get a custodial sentence. The former president has been convicted of attempting to obtain information from a senior judge in 2014 after he had left office. The judge and lawyer in question were also sentenced to 3 years in jail, 2 of them suspended. And in sports, the United States can now select Folarin Balogun after the England under-21 forward, who has starred for League One side Rams this season, opted to represent the 2026 World Cup co-hosts. FIFA said on Tuesday it approved a request by the U.S. Soccer Federation to change Balogun's national eligibility from England. The 21-year-old New York-born player also was eligible for Nigeria. Balogun has enjoyed a breakout season in France's top tier on loan from Arsenal, scoring 19 goals and duelled with Kylian Mbappe part of the season to be the league's top scorer. Mbappe now leads with 26 goals for Paris Saint-Germain. Balogun was born in Brooklyn, New York, but his Nigerian parents had been living in London. And that's all for the midday news here on Global TV. Remember, we are on StarTimes channel 276. You can follow us across our social platforms at Global TV NG. Thank you for watching. I'm Uyag Mofwegwe. I'll see you at 4 p.m. with a bigger package of the news. Have a great day ahead.